Commander Maria Torres stood frozen on the bridge of the UENS Defiance, watching the countdown timer tick toward humanity's end. 47 minutes remained until the Krillian Empire's deadline for Earth's unconditional surrender. 17 alien warships hung in orbit above her homeworld like iron daggers waiting to strike. Each one was 3 times the size of her vessel. Each one carried enough firepower to turn a city into a crater. Her hands gripped the railing as she stared at the main view screen. The Krillian flagship dominated the center, its hull bristling with weapon batteries that gleamed under Earth's sun. She had spent 3 days trying to negotiate with War Marshal Krennic, the commander of this invasion force. 3 days of listening to his contempt for humanity. 3 days of hearing how Earth would become the 44th world to fall under Krillian rule. "Commander, they're hailing us again," Lieutenant David Grant said from the communications station. His voice carried the same exhaustion they all felt. Nobody had slept properly since the aliens arrived. Maria nodded. "Put him through." The view screen shifted to show War Marshal Krennic. He was a terrifying sight, even after multiple conversations. 4 burning orange eyes set in a face of chitinous black plates, mandibles that clicked when he spoke, a body that looked designed for violence. Behind him, his bridge crew moved with military precision. "Commander Torres," Krennic said, his voice like grinding metal filtered through a translator. "Your time grows short. I have been extraordinarily patient with your species. The Krillian Empire does not waste time on inferior civilizations. Surrender your military assets, submit to our governance, or watch your cities burn from orbit." Maria kept her face calm, even though her heart raced. "War Marshal, as I have explained, Earth's government requires time to coordinate a response. We have regional authorities that must be consulted. Our political structure is complex." Krennic's laugh was harsh and mocking. "Your political structure is irrelevant. You have 1 functional warship? 1. We have 1,700 vessels across this sector alone. You are insects debating with a boot that is about to step on you. Accept reality, human. We need more time to discuss terms," Maria insisted. "Terms?" Krennic leaned forward, his 4 eyes blazing. "You have nothing to negotiate with. Your weapons are toys. Your shields are paper. Your technology is centuries behind ours. The only term is surrender. Total and complete. You have 15 minutes. Not 1 second more." The transmission cut off before Maria could respond. She released a breath she had been holding and turned to her tactical officer. "How many functioning defense satellites do we have left?" 12, ma'am," replied Lieutenant Jamie Park. "The Krillians disabled the rest when they first arrived, and those 12 wouldn't scratch their shields even if we fired everything simultaneously." Maria knew it was true. The math was brutally simple. Earth had spent the last century rebuilding after the resource wars that nearly destroyed human civilization. They had just started reaching into space again with primitive vessels. The Defiance was humanity's pride, built over 15 years of international cooperation. Against a galaxy-spanning empire, it was nothing. She walked to her command chair and sat down heavily. Around her, the bridge crew waited for orders they knew she could not give. What do you tell people when hope has run out? How do you face the end of everything? Then her console beeped with an incoming priority message from Earth. From Director Elena Voss herself, the head of the Global Defense Council. Maria's fingers trembled slightly as she opened it. What she read made her freeze. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, seismic sensors had detected something impossible. A massive metallic structure was moving, rising, something that had been buried under 12 kilometers of ocean floor for over 800 years. The sensors showed a vessel of unprecedented size, 32 kilometers long. Maria's breath caught. The message included a name she had only heard in stories. The UEN's Valiant, the legendary supercarrier from the resource wars. Every schoolchild learned about it. The ship that vanished in 2187, presumed destroyed when old Earth civilization tore itself apart. The ultimate weapon of a desperate age. It was real, and it was waking up. "Ma'am, the Krillians are powering weapons," David called out urgently. "They're targeting Earth's capital city." Maria made a decision. She needed to buy time. Every second counted now. Open a channel. Wide broadcast. When the channel opened, she spoke with as much authority as she could summon. "War Marshal Krennic, we request 1-hour extension." Traditional human diplomatic protocol requires consultation with historical records before any formal surrender. Grant us this final dignity, the silence stretched. She could imagine Krennic's contempt growing. Finally, his voice crackled back. 30 minutes, human. Use them to say goodbye to your world. My patience has limits. Even an insect like you cannot test further. The channel closed. Maria immediately contacted Earth. Director Voss, we bought 30 minutes. Tell me that thing in the Pacific is what I think it is. Elena Voss appeared on a smaller screen. Her face lined with stress, but her eyes bright with something Maria had not seen in days. Hope. It's real, Maria. The Valiant is real. And it's coming online. Our technicians are attempting to establish communication now. The reactor is powering up. The hull is breaking free from the sediment. Can it fight? Maria asked. Can it actually stand against 17 Krillian warships? I don't know, Elena admitted. But my grandfather served on that ship before it disappeared. He told me stories. The Valiant was not just a carrier, Maria. It was humanity's answer to total war. We built it when we were at our most desperate and most brilliant, when we held nothing back. Below them, in the cold darkness of the Pacific Ocean, ancient systems continued to awaken. Electromagnetic catapults fired, clearing debris from the hull. Self-repairing alloys began shedding 8 centuries of corrosion. A reactor that modern Earth could not replicate climbed toward full power, and an artificial intelligence named Archon, who had waited in silence for over 800 years, finally opened its eyes to see its homeworld threatened by invaders. The countdown continued. 27 minutes until the Krillian deadline. 27 minutes until Earth's surrender or destruction. But something impossible was rising from the deep. And the galaxy was about to learn that humanity had not forgotten how to wage war. They had simply been sleeping. The Pacific Ocean began to boil. Satellites tracking the anomaly transmitted live footage to every screen on Earth. Billions of people watched as massive columns of steam erupted from the water's surface. Something enormous was ascending from the ocean floor, pushing through 12 kilometers of water with unstoppable force. Dr. James Okafor sat in the Pacific Research Station, his coffee forgotten as warning alarms screamed around him. Every deep ocean sensor in his network had gone critical. Temperature spikes, seismic readings off the charts, electromagnetic signatures that made no sense. This is impossible, he whispered, pulling up the 3-dimensional scan of what was rising. The structure was bigger than anything humanity had ever built, bigger than the largest aircraft carrier by orders of magnitude, and it was moving fast. On the bridge of the Defiance, Maria Torres received continuous updates from Earth. Her tactical display showed the Valiant's ascent in real time. 23 minutes until the Krillian deadline. The ancient supercarrier was still 8 kilometers below the surface, still climbing. Commander, the Krillians are demanding an immediate response, David Grant said urgently. His console flashed with incoming transmissions. War Marshal Krennic is getting impatient. Maria opened the channel. Krennic's face filled the screen, his 4 eyes blazing with irritation. Human, your time expires in moments. I detect unusual activity on your planet. What are you attempting? We are consulting our historical archives as promised, Maria said calmly, though her palms were sweating. Our records are extensive. We need a few more minutes. You test my patience beyond reason, Krennic snarled. Very well. 5 more minutes. Then my weapons fire regardless of your pathetic stalling tactics. The channel cut off. Maria turned to Lieutenant Park. How deep is the Valiant now? 6 kilometers below surface, ma'am. Rising at 300 meters per minute and accelerating. But it won't make it in time. We have 5 minutes. It needs at least 15 to surface. On Earth, Director Elena Voss stood in the Global Defense Council headquarters, surrounded by screens showing data from the Valiant. Her team had finally established communication with the ancient ship's systems. A voice spoke through the speakers, artificial but clear. It was unlike any AI humanity currently possessed. More advanced, more aware. Authentication accepted. Director Voss recognized as ranking command authority. UN's Valiant resuming active status. Time since last operational cycle, 811 years, 7 months, 4 days. Threat assessment protocols engaged. Hostile fleet detected in Earth orbit. 17 vessels. Krillian configuration. Analyzing. Elena leaned toward the microphone. Archon, this is Director Voss. The Krillians have given us 5 minutes before they attack Earth. Can you help us? Affirmative. Current depth, 5.2 kilometers. Estimated surface time, 12 minutes. Acceptable delay. Commencing emergency ascent protocol. Around the world, people near coastlines reported feeling tremors. The Pacific Ocean's surface began to bulge upward in a dome of water several kilometers across. The pressure from below was tremendous. Ancient systems that had survived centuries of dormancy roared to life with full power. Aboard the Krillian flagship, tactical officers noticed the readings from Earth's ocean. War Marshal, we are detecting a massive energy signature rising from the planet's surface. Power output is beyond our measurement scale. Krennic glanced at the data dismissively. Probably a geothermal event. These primitive worlds are unstable. Prepare to fire on my command. Target the human capital city first. Make an example. Sir, the energy signature is increasing exponentially. This is not natural. It is technological. For the first time, uncertainty crossed Krennic's features. What kind of technology? Unknown. Our databases have no match. War Marshal, the signature is larger than our entire fleet combined. The Pacific Ocean erupted. Water vaporized in massive clouds of steam as the Valiant broke through the surface. The Supercarrier rose into the sky like an ancient leviathan awakening from a long sleep. 32 kilometers of dark metal dripping with seawater that fell in thunderous cascades. The hull gleamed under the sun, self-repairing alloys already regenerating after 8 centuries of dormancy. The ship continued rising until it hung in low orbit, a monument to an age when humanity fought itself with everything it possessed. Gun batteries lined every surface, hangar bays large enough to swallow cities, shield emitters that crackled with barely contained energy. It was beautiful and terrible to behold. On the Defiance, Maria's crew stared in stunned silence. Lieutenant Park checked his sensors 3 times before speaking. Commander, that vessel's mass is equivalent to a small moon. Reactor output is generating more power than our entire planetary grid. And those weapon systems, I have never seen anything like them. Maria could only nod. The Valiant dwarfed everything in orbit. It made the Krillian warships look like children's toys in comparison. Aboard the Krillian flagship, chaos erupted. War Marshal, every sensor is overloading. That ship, it is not possible. The shields alone could withstand bombardment from our entire fleet. Krennic stared at the impossible vessel floating before him. In 30 years of conquest across 43 worlds, he had never seen anything like this. The Krillian Empire had records on thousands of species, technology from hundreds of civilizations. Nothing compared to what now faced him. Hail them, he ordered, his voice tight. Demand identification. The response came immediately. Archon's voice broadcast across every Krillian frequency, calm and absolute. This is UEN's Valiant to all hostile vessels. You have violated territorial sovereignty of Earth. You have threatened human civilians. You have threatened destruction of our homeworld. You have 60 seconds to withdraw beyond the orbital exclusion zone or face immediate consequences. Krennic found his voice again. You dare threaten the Krillian Empire? We are conquerors of 43 worlds. I command 17 warships with authority from the Imperial throne itself. You are one ancient vessel against the might of an empire. 50 seconds. I will not be intimidated by human relics. All ships, weapons hot. Target that carrier. Prepare to fire on my command. 40 seconds. Krennic's strategic mind raced. His ships could fire. They could launch everything. But something deep in his combat-trained instincts screamed danger. This ship had survived 800 years in the ocean depths and emerged fully operational. What kind of technology could do that? What kind of civilization built something this massive? 30 seconds. His weapons officer looked at him expectantly. His fleet waited for the command. The entire bridge crew held their breath. Krennic opened his mouth to give the order to fire. Then every weapons system on every Krillian ship went dark. Fire control systems offline. Targeting computers unresponsive. Even manual overrides failed completely. 17 warships hung powerless in space, unable to fire a single shot. Archon's voice came again, patient and final. Krillian fleet, your vessels are now under containment protocol. Your weapons are disabled. Attempts to restore them will result in complete systems shutdown, including life support. You have one choice remaining. Withdraw from Earth space or drift here until your supplies run out. Choose now. War Marshal Krennic slammed his fist against his command console as another system failure report appeared. Nothing was working. Weapons offline. Targeting systems dead. Fire control unresponsive. His engineers scrambled through every deck of the flagship, trying desperately to restore even basic combat capability. Nothing they tried made any difference. Chief Engineer, report! Krennic roared into his communicator. The response came back frantic and confused. War Marshal, something is interfacing with our systems at the quantum level. It is bypassing every security protocol we have, every firewall, every encryption. It knows our technology better than we do. And, sir, it is still inside our networks, watching, waiting. Krennic felt cold fear creep up his spine. In 30 years of military service, he had never encountered an enemy like this. The Krillian Empire conquered through superior firepower and numbers. They overwhelmed resistance with sheer force. But this human ship had defeated 17 warships without firing a single shot. It had simply reached out and switched them off like primitive machines. Across the disabled Krillian fleet, similar scenes played out. Captains shouted at their crews. Engineers tore apart control panels searching for the problem. Soldiers stood ready at weapons that would not fire. And above them all, the massive human supercarrier hung silent and patient, a predator that had already caught its prey. Archon's voice filled every bridge simultaneously. Krillian commanders, you will order your vessels to withdraw from Earth orbit within 1 hour. You will set course for your home territory. Life support and propulsion systems will be restored for this purpose. All other systems will remain disabled until you leave our space. This is not negotiable. Krennic stared at the view screen showing the Valiant. His pride screamed at him to refuse, to fight somehow. But his tactical mind understood the truth. He had been defeated absolutely. His fleet was helpless. The only question now was whether he would live through this humiliation or die for his pride. He opened communications to his fleet. All ships, prepare to withdraw on my command. Set course for home territory. The words tasted like poison, but he spoke them anyway. Survival first. Revenge could come later. On the Defiance, Maria Torres received a direct communication from the Valiant. Archon's voice was calm and precise. Commander Torres, Director Voss has requested your presence aboard the Valiant for strategic briefing. A shuttle will arrive at your location in 10 minutes. Please prepare to transfer. Maria looked at her crew. They had survived. Earth had survived. Because of a ship that should not exist. Acknowledged Valiant. I will be ready. Lieutenant David Grant stepped closer, speaking quietly. Ma'am, should we trust them? That AI disabled an entire fleet in seconds. What if it decides humans are a threat too? Maria considered the question carefully. That ship has been sleeping beneath our ocean for 800 years, David. If it wanted to harm humanity, it could have done so at any time. Instead, it saved us. I think we owe it the benefit of trust. She hoped she was right. The shuttle ride to the Valiant felt surreal. As Maria approached the ancient supercarrier, its true scale became overwhelming. Hangar bays that could swallow her entire ship. Gun batteries larger than buildings. Hull plating that showed not a single sign of damage despite centuries underwater. This was not just a vessel. It was a fortress that could fly. The hangar she landed in could have held 1,000 fighters. Automated systems guided her shuttle to a landing pad where Director Elena Voss and General Marcus Webb waited. Elena looked exhausted but relieved. Webb looked like a man seeing a ghost. Commander Torres, Elena greeted her warmly. Welcome to humanity's forgotten masterpiece. They walked through corridors that hummed with power. Lighting systems activated as they passed. The ship was alive with activity, all controlled by Archon's distributed intelligence. Finally, they reached the bridge, a vast chamber filled with tactical displays and control stations that made modern technology look like stone tools. A holographic projection materialized before them. Simple geometric shapes pulsing with light. Archon's chosen form for communication. Director Voss, Commander Torres, General Webb, thank you for coming. We have much to discuss in limited time. Limited time? Marcus Webb asked sharply. We just defeated the Krillian invasion force. You defeated one fleet, Archon corrected. War Marshal Krennic transmitted distress signals before I disabled his communications. The Krillian Empire now knows Earth possesses advanced defensive technology. Standard Imperial protocol for unexpected resistance. Dispatch a pacification fleet of 200 vessels. They will arrive in 6 days. The room fell silent. Maria felt her brief moment of victory crumble. 200 ships? Even with the Valiant, those are impossible odds. Not impossible, Archon said. Difficult but manageable. However, military victory alone is insufficient. We must achieve strategic victory. We must make the Krillian Empire understand that Earth cannot be conquered at any cost. Elena stepped forward. What do you propose? I propose we demonstrate a capability that makes warfare against Earth not just difficult but pointless. During the Resource Wars, humanity developed technology designed for total conflict. Electronic warfare systems that could disable enemy forces completely. I possess these systems. More importantly, I possess Project Nightfall. What is Project Nightfall? Maria asked. The holographic display shifted, showing schematics of satellite networks. A defensive grid designed to make Earth unassailable. Satellites carrying electromagnetic pulse systems capable of disabling hostile vessels across light-minute distances. Quantum jammers that blind sensor networks. Technology that can shut down any attacking force before they can fire a single shot. Marcus Webb's eyes widened. You want to turn Earth into a fortress that cannot be attacked? Precisely. The satellites were built but never deployed before the Valiant was lost. They remain in my cargo holds. In 6 days, I can deploy a complete defensive network around Earth. When the Krillian pacification fleet arrives, we will disable all 200 ships without destroying a single one. We will send them home intact but humiliated. Elena understood immediately. You want to break them psychologically. Make them afraid to attack us. Fear is a weapon that requires no ammunition, Archon replied. It does not deplete. It spreads through word and reputation. When 200 Krillian warships return home disabled but unharmed, the entire galaxy will know that Earth possesses defensive technology that makes conquest impossible. No empire will dare attack us because victory becomes impossible. Maria felt a chill run through her. This ancient AI had spent 8 centuries planning, learning, preparing for this exact scenario. You have been waiting for this, she said quietly. You have been waiting for someone to threaten Earth so you could demonstrate what you can do. I have been waiting to fulfill my original purpose, Archon corrected. I was built to defend humanity. For 800 years, I watched and learned while humanity rebuilt itself. Now the galaxy has come to our door with hostile intent. Now I can finally do what I was created to do. The AI paused. But I need your authorization. I need humanity to choose this path. Will you allow me to deploy Project Nightfall? Will you allow me to show the galaxy that Earth is no longer prey? 6 days passed in desperate preparation. The Krillian pacification fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of metal predators. 200 warships materialized in formation, each one broadcasting the might of an empire that had conquered 43 worlds. Fleet Admiral Krell commanded from the massive dreadnought Unyielding Sovereign, reviewing War Marshal Krennic's humiliating report with growing anger. Krell was a veteran of 30 successful planetary conquests. He had reduced civilizations to ash. He had broken species that dared resist. And now, a primitive world had disabled 17 Krillian vessels with a single ancient ship? Impossible. Clearly, Krennic had failed through incompetence and invented excuses to save his reputation. Tactical officer, scan the human system, Krell ordered from his command throne. Locate this supposed supercarrier. I want full analysis before we proceed. The response came quickly. Admiral, sensors detect the vessel in orbit around the 3rd planet. Confirmed mass equivalent to a small moon. Power signatures are beyond our measurement capabilities. Sir, the readings match Krennic's report exactly. Krell studied the data with narrowed eyes. Large ships were not uncommon. Power meant nothing if weapons could not target effectively. The Krillian Empire possessed siege weapons designed to crack planetary shields. They had technology harvested from hundreds of conquered species. One old human vessel would fall like all the others. All ships advanced to engagement range. Battle Formation Delta, prepare siege cannons. We will demonstrate proper Krillian strength to these primitives. The fleet moved forward, a wall of firepower that had never tasted defeat. Behind them, supply ships carried enough ammunition to level continents. Troop transports held legions ready to occupy Earth after its military collapsed. This would be a textbook conquest. Then sensors detected something unexpected. Thousands of objects in orbit around Earth. Small satellites arranged in a precise geometric pattern that covered the entire planet. They had not been there 6 days ago when Krennic's fleet withdrew. "Admiral, we are detecting a defensive satellite network," the tactical officer reported. "Configuration unknown. Energy signatures are building across all units." Krell felt the first whisper of unease. "Can we destroy them?" "Unknown, sir. We would need to fire to determine their defensive capabilities." The Valiant appeared at the orbit of Mars, moving to intercept. Archon's transmission reached the Krillian fleet with calm authority. "Krillian Pacification Fleet, you are in violation of Earth territorial space. Withdraw immediately or face defensive measures." Krell's response dripped with contempt. "Primitive vessel, you face 200 warships of the Krillian Empire. You faced 17 before and won through trickery. Now face true military power. Surrender your planet or be reduced to debris. Final warning, withdraw or be disabled." Krell laughed, a harsh sound that echoed across his bridge. "Disabled? You cannot disable 200 ships. Each captain commands different systems, different security protocols. Your electronic tricks will not work. Fire at will! All batteries! Show these humans the price of resistance!" 200 warships unleashed everything. Missiles by the thousands. Plasma bolts that could melt steel. Kinetic slugs moving at significant fractions of light speed. The combined firepower could destroy cities, flatten mountains, boil oceans. It all streaked toward the Valiant in a wave of destruction that lit up space like a new sun. The weapons stopped. Every single projectile halted in mid-flight as if hitting an invisible wall. The Valiant's defensive grid created electromagnetic fields so precise and powerful they could grab individual missiles from space and hold them frozen. Thousands of weapons hung motionless, a suspended wave of death rendered harmless. Then the Valiant returned them, not fired with additional force, just released with slight trajectory corrections. Every missile, every plasma bolt, every kinetic round flew back toward the fleet that launched them. Ships scrambled to evade their own weapons. Shields flashed as vessels were struck by firepower meant for an enemy. Minor hull breaches appeared across 24 ships. "What manner of technology is this?" Krell shouted. "How did they stop everything?" His chief engineer pulled up analysis faster than anyone had seen him move. "Admiral, those satellites, they are all activating. Energy spikes across the entire network. They are targeting us." The Nightfall system went active. Across millions of kilometers, thousands of satellites opened fire with precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses. Each pulse was tuned to a specific ship, adjusted for that vessel's exact shielding frequency and electronic configuration. The beams did not destroy. They infiltrated. One by one, Krillian ships went dark. Weapons offline. Shields collapsed. Propulsion dead. Communications scrambled. Only life support remained active, a mercy that made the defeat somehow worse. 10 ships disabled, then 20, then 50. The pacification fleet became a graveyard of drifting hulks faster than anyone could process. Fleet Admiral Krell watched in absolute horror as his mighty armada died around him. His own dreadnought shuddered as systems failed in cascading waves. "This is impossible. We are the Krillian Empire. We have conquered worlds. We have technology from 1,000 species. How can humans do this?" Archon's voice filled every disabled ship simultaneously. "You mistake age for weakness. Humanity built the Valiant when we fought ourselves with total commitment. We built it to survive anything, to defeat anything. Your technology is advanced, but it follows predictable patterns. We studied those patterns. We found the weaknesses in systems you thought invulnerable. 100 ships disabled, 150. The Nightfall satellites worked with mechanical efficiency, each one eliminating targets with perfect accuracy. Across the Krillian fleet, crews sat in darkness lit only by emergency lights. Warriors of a proud empire reduced to helpless passengers in their own vessels. "You have been defeated without us firing a single destructive shot," Archon continued. "You will drift for 12 hours to understand your situation. Then propulsion will be restored. Only propulsion. You will return to Krillian space and deliver a message to your emperor. Earth is no longer available for conquest. Any fleet sent against us will meet this fate. War with humanity costs everything and gains nothing. Tell your Emperor we do not wish conflict, but we have become very efficient at ending it. Krell slumped in his command throne, his pride shattered like glass. 200 ships, the largest pacification fleet the Krillian Empire had assembled in decades, defeated absolutely by a planet they considered primitive. 14 days after the Krillian defeat, 60 alien warships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. These were not Krillian vessels. They represented the Galactic Council, a coalition of 73 species that governed interstellar law across known space. Their arrival sent immediate alerts through every human defense network. Director Elena Voss stood in the Global Defense Council headquarters, watching the tactical display with exhaustion in her eyes. She had barely slept since the Krillian pacification fleet limped home in disgrace. Now this. Archon, identify those vessels. Are they hostile? The AI's voice came through clearly from the Valiant in orbit. Negative? Ships are broadcasting diplomatic codes. However, 60 warships is excessive for a peaceful delegation. Analysis suggests they are prepared for conflict despite their stated intentions. Recommendation: high alert status. Maria Torres, recently promoted to Admiral after Earth's victories, reviewed the sensor data aboard the Valiant. The Council ships represented different technologies, different designs, different species, each one unique, not like the standardized Krillian fleet. This is going to be more complicated, she muttered to herself. A transmission came through on standard galactic frequencies. The speaker was Council Speaker Thane, a being with silver skin and 6 articulated limbs. His voice carried diplomatic smoothness that barely concealed underlying tension. Human authorities, this is the Galactic Council Diplomatic Fleet. We request permission to approach Earth for official first contact negotiations. We come in peace to discuss recent events involving the Krillian Empire. Elena looked at General Marcus Webb, who stood beside her command station. What do you think? I think 60 warships is not a diplomatic gesture, Marcus said grimly. That is a show of force. They want us to know they could fight if needed. Elena opened a response channel. Council Speaker Thane, Earth acknowledges your request. However, our security protocols require all approaching vessels to disable weapon systems before entering our orbital space. This applies to all ships regardless of stated intent. The response came after a brief pause. Thane's voice carried barely hidden irritation. Director Voss, we are a peaceful delegation representing the governing body of galactic civilization. We will not disarm. Such a request is highly irregular and frankly insulting. Archon's voice cut into the conversation, broadcasting to both Earth and the Council fleet. Irregular or not, it is Earth policy. Your vessels carry enough firepower to devastate our planet. We cannot allow armed warships near our homeworld after recent hostile encounters. Disable weapons or maintain your current distance. There is no third option. On the Council flagship, Thane conferred urgently with his military advisors. They assured him this ancient human ship could not possibly disable 60 vessels from different technological backgrounds. The Krillians used standardized systems across their empire. Council species each had unique designs, unique security protocols. It would be impossible to hack them all simultaneously. We refuse your terms, Thane declared. We will approach Earth. Do not test the patience of the Galactic Council. The 60 ships advanced toward Earth's orbit. One by one, every weapon system on every ship quietly went dark. Fire control systems unresponsive. Targeting computers offline. Manual overrides failed. Different technologies, different manufacturers, different security architectures. None of it mattered. Archon found the vulnerabilities in each design and exploited them with surgical precision. The Council representatives sat in stunned silence as their weapons died. Thane stared at his tactical display in disbelief. How is this possible? Our ships have nothing in common technologically. How did they disable us all? His chief technical officer reviewed the data with shaking hands. Sir, that AI found backdoors in systems we thought were secure. It exploited manufacturing flaws, protocol weaknesses, even design oversights from original construction. It knows our technology better than we do. Archon's voice came again, patient and absolute. Your weapons are disabled. Life support and propulsion remain functional. You may proceed to Earth orbit for negotiations. Welcome to our solar system, Council Speaker Thane. Shuttlecraft may dock with the Valiant. We have much to discuss. Hours later, Thane and 12 council representatives stood in the Valiant's hastily prepared diplomatic chamber. They faced Elena Voss, Maria Torres, Marcus Webb, and the holographic projection of Archon. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Thane spoke first, struggling to maintain diplomatic composure. You have made your point. Your defensive technology is formidable. But you must understand, the galaxy cannot allow one species to hold such power over all others. It destabilizes everything. Elena stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. With respect, Council Speaker, your balance was built on our ignorance. You classified Earth as too primitive for contact, while the Krillian Empire prepared to conquer us. Where was the Council then? Where was galactic law when we faced annihilation? The Krillians acted without authorization, Thane argued. We would have intervened eventually. Eventually? Marcus Webb's voice was hard as steel. After our cities burned? After our people died? We saved ourselves. We will not apologize for surviving. Another delegate leaned forward, a being named Ambassador Rin from the Heliax Confederation. Let us speak plainly. Your technology makes you dangerous. The Council offers membership with conditions. Share your electromagnetic weapons technology. Accept limits on military expansion. In return, receive protection and access to galactic trade. Maria laughed bitterly. You want the weapons we use to defend ourselves, then promise to protect us. Why would we trust that? Because isolation is your only alternative, Thane said quietly. Without Council membership, you have no trading partners. No allies, no resources beyond this system. You won a battle, humans. You cannot win an economic siege. Elena met Archon's holographic form. In that moment, understanding passed between human and AI. This was the real test. You are right, Elena said, surprising everyone. We need the galaxy. But the galaxy needs something from us too. What? Thane asked cautiously. A new way forward. For thousands of years, galactic civilization has been built on military conquest. Species expand through force. The strong dominate the weak. But we have proven something you cannot ignore. Warfare is obsolete. Archon's projection shifted, displaying tactical data. Every species here has invested vast resources in military power, all of it rendered useless by electromagnetic dominance. The age of conquest through force is ending. Thane began to understand. You are proposing something. We will share our defensive technology freely, Elena said. Not our weapons, but our defense. The Nightfall network can be adapted for any world. Every species can become safe from invasion. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. One ambassador objected loudly. If everyone is defended, military power becomes meaningless. Exactly, Marcus said with a grim smile. War becomes impossible. Conflicts must be solved through diplomacy. The galaxy will have no choice but to evolve. You would disarm everyone? Thane asked. We would make everyone safe, Elena corrected. Earth does not want to be a military power. We want to survive and grow, but not by becoming conquerors, by making conquest impossible for anyone, Archon added. The Valiant will remain Earth's defense. We will help any species that requests defensive networks. In return, Earth requests full Council membership with equal status. Open trade, guaranteed sovereignty. Silence fell as the representatives processed this. Safety from invasion, but at the cost of offensive capability. Peace through mutual defense rather than mutual threat. Finally, Thane spoke. The Council must deliberate, but I will support this proposal. Earth has proven it does not need us to survive. Perhaps we need Earth to survive what we are becoming. 3 months later, the Galactic Council voted. Earth became the 74th member. The Valiant Defense Initiative began spreading across the galaxy. Wars brewing for decades found peaceful resolutions. Fleets built for conquest were converted to exploration. The galaxy changed, not overnight but steadily, and humanity, once considered primitive prey, became the species that taught the stars how to build peace instead of weapons.